Hi guys, this is Giulia Castelli, your Show Me Your Diamond podcast host. Today, my diamond is Nienke. Nienke is a heart ambassador and a speaker's coach. Nienke, welcome and please tell us more about yourself and what does a heart ambassador means and what is or who is a speaker's coach.
Well, thank you so much for having me all the way from the Netherlands. So yes, I'm Nienke van Bezooijen, and I always say I'm a heart ambassador. And what's a heart ambassador? Well, actually, Heart Ambassador is a group, international group, from people all walks of life who work only from following their heart. And they are, most of them are heart math certified or at least trained, but listen to their heart's intuition and just live from there. So there is, let's say, a frequency of the heart. What makes you feel more welcome and at ease and peace. So yeah, that's what I love, and I even put it on my business card. And people ask me what is it, and then I just say okay, this is it. But also, for example, heart ambassadors have a consultative status for the United Nations. So it isn't a small hobby group; it's a impact group. And yes, I'm a speaker coach, and that's how we met. So
Yes, I was doing my first TEDx talk, and Yankee was my speaker's coach before the talk. Before I say something, could you share your experience with working with me?
oh yeah. Yeah. Um, Talking about the heart, you really wanted to show vulnerable, powerful, the true story of finding your diamond. And you went through this whole process of how you discovered your own qualities, your life journeys, without a over drama, but still impactful. And then, of course, with all my speaker coaches, it's a process, it's life. So you get to a stage where you first have your topic, and then you make your story, and then you're going to rehearse. And then you come to this pivotal moment like, I don't know, I can't remember. I want to change. Is it okay? Is it TEDx like? They all have that. So that was happening with you as well. But what I loved is you kept working on it, not from a perspective of being overly perfect, but wanted to create the most impact for this TED Talk. So I applaud you for that.
Oh, thank you so much, Nyenke. And I was so fortunate to know you before my first TEDx. And I keep saying first because I really think is the first of many. I love the stage. I believe I have the mission to spread and uplift and give messages. I download them. So I want to speak more, but it was so special that you held my hand. Yes, I came to you at not very late stage because I know it can be later, and I'll help you share your own experience. But I came to you with already having the title, the talk, the script. But we kept working on it, and I kept changing it, as you said, until the day before. And I knew that this could be risky, doing changes at the last minute, and how would I remember? But it was amazing having you because you weren't about being perfect. You weren't about me remembering. And you also said, I cannot learn it for you.
No,
And even the intonation, you like, I can tell you my intonation, but it needs to come from your heart. So I guess you being a heart ambassador, you led me to speak from my heart. And
yeah,
despite forgetting some of my script, I touched the audience. They came to me, they hugged me, they said it was amazing. I gave the message, and this is what matters. And
exactly.
thank you for holding my hand while being vulnerable, and also a moment I remember me being on that huge stage with the big lights, but you were there in the first row looking at me and sending me this positive energy,
Sending you heart.
sending me heart. So thank you for that. Okay, I know that you have an amazing story, a very powerful story, and the world needs to hear your story because it's very inspirational. Do you feel like going there?
Whatever can be helpful for your audience. I'm always open to share whatever comes up. And I just want to add a little thing for your TEDx thing, just to wrap it all up. Do you remember what I said about remembering your words? I said, remember your coach forgot her lines too when she did her own TED talk, which was true.
Oh,
Because I realized only when the whole thing was recorded, when I watched later, I could see my script and what I'd memorized. And with me happened that the first super clever example I wanted to use, it slipped through my mind. I didn't say it. Then I was following someone else's guidance, what wasn't really aligned with who I am, and I forgot my lines. You can even see, I can see it in my talk. So I stopped and I'm searched with my body, and then it sort of clicked in again, and I just kept on flowing in the flowing stage with me. And then in the end, I had this super smart ass quote, um, like, oh, if I do that, then I really look smart. I've totally forgot about it, and I only noticed it afterwards. And my talk is how to walk your talk, because I was asked last minute to share about how I coach my TEDx speakers, and I coach hundreds of TEDx speakers. But they wanted to have the background around that, and you're not allowed to brand yourself. So, for the ones who really know my method and the method I work with you with as well, you can hear that in the talk, but it isn't a branding, it's more a line that it follows, and it's how to walk your talk. And yes, the other story is in that as well. So, what came to your mind? What do you want me to share with your audience?
well, I know that, your story was personally very inspirational for me because, yes, I had a dream to do a TEDx talk because I feel I have a message to share with the women. But of course, I was scared. I felt the fear, and then I was worried about the lines. And you were amazing because, as you said, if you forgot your lines, I can forget my lines. And actually, people from the audience came to me and said, "Thank you for delivering it such a vulnerable and real way, because then you give us permission to be us and not to be perfect." And you walked your talk, and I walked
Exactly.
talk because I was talking about vulnerability and I was real there. I remember standing and saying, well, I knew this might happen, that I might forget my lines. But it didn't matter because really what mattered was I had a message and my audience felt it.
Exactly.
And I know that you had a brain injury, and very shortly after that, with a brain injury, you were asked to deliver a TEDx talk just 4 or 5 weeks notice.
Yep.
I get goosebumps just hearing it because I know it's a very hard thing. Some people put 60 hours just memorizing it. Other people, get ready for 6 months, 8 months, or 1 year for a TEDx talk. So getting those goosebumps, if you could do it with a brain injury, you empower us to do it. If someone in the audience feels strongly that they have a message, I can just tell you, just go for it. Write a book, do a TEDx, uh, just speak, just share your message because there's always people who need to hear it. So please tell us about that horrific story and
Yeah.
silver lining behind it.
Yes. Well, I think just for a slight bio background story, I'm a former nurse, and I transformed things, and then after 25 years in nursing and healthcare and management, and I shifted my career and I became an entrepreneur. Because I really wanted to reach people. I wanted to know their inner drives. So I did some assessment things. And then I realized transferring knowledge was really, really a passion. And since I was a very young kid, I loved giving presentations. Put me in a library for 2 hours and let me give a presentation about something I never knew a thing about, like steam engines or something. Yeah. But the fact I could do something and just touch people, that really was really a passion. And when you got really an A, you got a sticker. So I collected stickers like a squirrel collect nuts. Yeah. And I completely forgot about it when things shifted in life. Until I was in front of groups and it was sparked again. So I traveled the world as an entrepreneur to learn from the best in the world for public speaking, training, book writing, scripting, um, all these areas. So I wrote my own book, my own method, um, and from there, well, I coach high-end people because I love it. And one of my taglines I provide the world with a voice, just like I did with you. But then life kicked in. And I noticed when I was abroad in Bratislava, I noticed in a very noisy hotel room at night, if I would turn to the other side, it was deaf silence. So I realized I must be deaf on one side. So because I didn't have any pain, I didn't go to a doctor or I forgot about it. And then you can have these free checks. So, let's do that. So somewhere on a Friday afternoon, I went to these shops where you can do a hearing check. And the people who did the test really freaked out when they looked inside my left ear. I said, well, what are you seeing? Come on, I'm a former nurse. You don't scare me, but just share what you see. And they say, well, doesn't look good. You better go to the doctor. So on Monday, I went to the doctor, got a student doctor. He said, oh, the real doctor has to see it. So the real doctor looked into my ear and he said, well, I can't do anything. You have to go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital. And that doctor looked into my ear and said, well, you have tumor. You have a brain tumor. And it's growing inside your ear and it's making you deaf. And don't you worry, it's benign. Just for your perspective, if you hear tumor, you can't hear benign anymore. That's just a fact, how the brain is wired. And I was all by myself because I thought I had an infection or so. I never thought it would be anything like that. And then people in the hospital said, well, we can't do it here. You have to go to an academic hospital because it's so rare. We can't do it. So I ended up in one of the Dutch hospitals on the other side of the country who were specialized in my kind of tumor. And the tumor was growing inside my inner ear and going towards the brainstem, pressing cranial nerves. What would affect my speaking? So even now, half of my tongue is paralyzed. And I really had to do something about it. And they could take the part inside the ear out. And that didn't go too well. So I thought, okay, well, I'm fine afterwards. In 10 days after the surgery, I was working again as a speaker coach again. And then in a couple of months, I noticed I started choking more and having swallowing problems, articulation problems. So I just reached out to my academic professor and he said, I want to see you instantly. So I traveled to the other side of the country and I had to pull my tongue out and it was completely going the other way around. And he said, well, you have to have a MRI scan. I said, when are we going to do that? He said, now. I said, when do I have to come back for the results? He said, well, straight after. And they discovered I had a ping pong ball size growth and no surgery possible. If they would do a surgery, I would lose my capacity to swallow and speak completely. So the vocal cords were affected, the tongue was affected, the left side of the cheek was affected. So in the first week of total lockdown of COVID, I had nearly 6 weeks of radiation therapy to what they call sterilize the tumor. because it's benign, so it isn't spreading in the body, but it was giving pressure. So they had to sterilize the growth of the cells, and that's what they did. Um, so I had that, and I never realized it would give me brain damage. And that's the brain damage you were speaking about. So the radiation therapy damaged my memory, I developed aphasia, so finding words. So I'm bilingual, so English and Dutch. That was double Dutch in the beginning. I can tell you that wasn't really what needed to come out. Concentration problems, the whole thing was there. And I really wanted to move on and see what's possible rather than impossible. And at that time, my husband was very, very afraid of me being ill and became depressed from that. So I was raising myself up and he was going down. And then you come to a point you look after each other, but he was really slipping down and that completely depleted me. And because of the brain damage, that was by now I know in trauma healing, an extra impulse of triggering trauma. So I really had a breakdown where I nearly died. So my last drop of life fuel was gone. So I ended up on ICU for six days and had to recover with everything. I had to learn to walk, I had to learn to talk, I had to learn everything. And if life is giving back to me, I better make something good to me and just make it happen and do something with it. I was already certified heart math trainer at that time. So I was very, very keen to have this measurement of where do I lose energy, where do I gain energy, where do I find my resources to really step up. And you saw me in Italy. You know, I had my big win there in the area where we stayed, that I climbed down a Roman theater without a walking stick, without a cane, without a rail, and without human support, just by myself in the sunset hour in the evening. And I did it all. I didn't fall, I didn't tumble over. I made it. So I create these golden moments of celebrating what's possible because I know damn well what isn't possible. But it's always having this angle of what is there and what can I explore on the edge of what I don't know, because I don't know what I don't know. So why not testing it? So that's me.
Wow. Wow, what a story. I feel very fortunate that apart from you being my coach for the TEDx, we also got to spend a lot of time together because we
Yes.
were in that fabulous writers retreat or TEDx speakers retreat, I would call it in Fiesole. We stayed in the most amazing house with the best view of Tuscany, and it felt something like kilometers ahead of us, just space and nature and views.
And groundedness, because it was a very old place and a lot of ancient history around it. So we could feel our ancestors there.
Oh, it was amazing. It was such a bonding experience. We were so
Mm,
different, all of us, different ages, different stages in careers, but we bonded. We were, I believe, five incredible women, all
yes.
supporting each other, all having a mission. And I know that you just described a very powerful, special moment for you. You climbed that amphitheater without any help. And that's amazing. But I know that you also climbed another almost impossible mountain. You thought it was impossible, but you proved that in Italy that it was possible. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, help me. Help me. Help me.
Okay, yes, because you climbed so many of this. Well, you also thought that after the brain injury and after everything you went through and radiation and you name it, and having parts of your body paralyzed or having to relearn what to do with certain parts of the body that we feel is just a given, but now you know it's not a given because you have lost them and you had to reclaim them.
Hmm.
You also thought it wouldn't be possible to work on such a big event and with
Oh,
so
yes.
many
Yeah.
people. And I
Oh,
believe
yeah.
it's another mountain you climbed, and I congratulate you for that. And I feel that's another inspirational moment for so many
Well, I
women.
know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I really, after my own TED talk, I said, no more TED talks for me. I'm just done. No more. And then through a common contact we have in common, she said, well, they're searching for a speaker coach. And so I contact the licensee holder in Italy. It clicked. I loved the theme, renewed humanism, renew, recharge, sustain. So that clicked. So I said, ah, well. And I never imagined I would be coaching 22 of the speakers. The maximum I ever did was 6 for one event.
Wow.
So after just, nearly sort of swearing I would never do a TEDx thing and then ending up at 22 and enjoying it so much. This new balance, here we go again, this new balance. So what can I do? How do I fit in? How do I allocate my energy? How do how do I pair up with the dynamic of such a big event and still be there? And it worked. So that's another big celebration. So I'm just collecting like eggs, gratitude moments. Do you recognize that?
Yeah.
So having this big basket of endless flowing gratitude and having 22 instead of 6, that was a thing.
Well done, Nienke. I'm proud of you, and you inspire, and you will inspire also so many more people now that our episode will be out. That's my mission, to share the special people I am lucky enough to meet with the world, and you're one of them. You're one of my
Ah,
diamonds.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So you mentioned quite a hard period in your life when you had this huge health challenge, which was, life and death, and your husband was having a very hard time coping with it. Did you manage to save the marriage, or did it crack at that point?
The marriage did crack, the love didn't. So he was so severe mentally ill, he was hospitalized. And that was a point that I had to bring him to hospital, and he stayed there for nearly 1.5 years. And when he came back, he wasn't able to really look after himself, but I wasn't capable for looking after him and my own health as well. So for that reason, we had to split up. And I moved. I gave up everything. I gave up the house. I lost a lot of my clients. I lost my marriage. I lost some of my inner contacts in the family. So a whole big, blank canvas to start with. And the beauty there was my husband's name is Pete, and he moved to quite close where I live now. And the the setting he was in, the nurses and the doctors kept me away because they blamed me for being the source of his problems. No matter if that's true or not, but it just was just how they saw it. So they kept us also separated until I followed my intuition and I went to see him. And we were able to have a conversation to wrap up all loose ends. And I felt it was really important to do so. I just followed my intuition and went. 10 days later, he died in my arms.
Oh.
So I always promised him, if your time is there and you will die, if it's possible, I will come and will be there because he was terrified of dying. And I was able to come. And I was the one who stayed overnight, and he died quite quickly, just in 24 hours. But I was there, and he was dying in my arms. And that felt as the circle was round. We were 23 years together, and I could let him go in peace. And he was in peace afterwards. You could see it in the body if they are at peace or not. So although I miss my soulmate, it's okay. It's okay. And it's another thing of just following my heart's intuition.
Wow, what a story. What a story, a love story and a story of your journey. We all have our own journeys. They're all different, but there's certain feelings and certain values that are important for us. I would like to find out from your rich experience and work and life and love, what is happiness for you and what is success?
Let's start with success first. Because if you had asked me in the past, is a successful book and having a lot of clients and being visible. But if you're really on the edge of death, nothing matters anymore. Really, nothing. People will remember how you showed up, not how many books you wrote. Definitely not. Not how many clients you coached. They remembered how you showed up. So success for me is showing up who you are and still reach to the people. And by now I would say from the heart. And if you come from that authentic heart space, you create that impact, success naturally. So you remember me on the first row of the TEDx event. That's my success.
Mm.
And from that, that's my happiness because I love to uplift, to elevate people to who they really are and give them a voice and tap into their own source and reach that naturally without losing themselves, without losing their energy, without making anything negative. You don't have to be a happy, clappy, clappy person. That's what sort of what I would say. These people say, yeah, we're happy all the time. No, you're not. You bump your toe. You whatever. It's never a happy, happy, clappy thing. But how you relate to what comes up in your life, that's the key. And what you can just turn around and turn something what's really negatively impacting you to a stepping stone for growth. And if you can go there, then it's easy to tap in self-compassion, happiness, growth, smile, warmth, authenticity, um, emotional self-regulation. Yes, I do get angry. Yes, I do get upset, but I know how to turn the key. So that's, to me, happiness and success. The fact that I'm able to turn the key is my happiness key to success.
Hmm. I love how you put it. So do you today I feel very brave asking questions like and going really deep because I know I can do that with you. So do
Yep.
you feel fear? Do you feel imposter syndrome? Do you feel doubts, self-doubts?
Yep. They're all familiar. I'm just human. I'm not on a cloud. No, I do feel fear. But I learned also there is no fear without love because it's two sides of the coin. If you wouldn't love something so much, you wouldn't feel the fear of losing someone, the fear of not reaching something. You would love to go somewhere so passionate that the fear sneaks in that you can't reach it. So that's if I realize I feel fear, I look, oh, what I do love so deeply. So I also have the perspective of love, so I can collaborate with fear rather than battle it. The same with pain. I really don't like pain. And I learned also if you collaborate with pain, because the pain is telling you something. So hey, well, don't have so little sleep. I need something. So if you see that as a collaboration partner, then it isn't a hassle or a burden any longer. You also say imposter syndrome. I have that less now because I know who I am. And if you don't get it, I don't have to go to imposter syndrome area because I know who I am. But I used to have that a lot, particularly when my surrounding pushed me a lot, like, "Oh, you're the biggest failure I've ever seen," things like that. So you have to really go to your core and grow out of that. But also, my journey learned that, why waste time in imposter syndrome? I have nicer things to do if I have choice. So I think, oh, thank you, imposter syndrome. No more. Thank you. No, 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 no. Thank you for sharing. And then just move on.
Thank you. I love that. And I want to speak about those things because we women, especially we women, often feel not enough, not worthy enough, not ready enough, not pretty enough, many things not enough. And
Yeah.
that's why I want to share here in my podcast some amazing women and men who feel all of those things, who have gone all of this, but you know what? I love how you put it. Let's put them as our friends, not enemies. Let's read the messages pain and fear give us. And I also particularly love to now see fear and love as the different sides of the coin. And so, my crown question, Nienke, show me your diamond.
It's so beautiful. I know that diamond. I held that diamond in Italy. And what you said in your talk is so many facets, and they're all unique. And I would say by now, my diamond is my intuition and following that intuition, have that capacity, have that muscle of trusting my inner wisdom and intuition um, at all times. And the courage when I feel off track to speak out loud and say no. Doesn't feel right. So following that intuition and with all facets of
Mm,
the diamonds, it makes my life so much lighter. So I can have the shining, the sparkling in I like how I spark others. I like to have that spark in others. Have that there through my intuition rather than any other outer learned skill. I can talk about my books, I can talk about my TV appearance, or whatever. I cherish my inner diamond, not my outer shine. So that's why I was so hooked by your talk and show you the inner diamond. Because the outer shine, I've seen it all. It's not attractive to me anymore. I really flipped and I phoenixed. I think that's a good thing to mention as well. I've seen the ashes. I felt the ashes. I burned completely. I had 10 minutes away from death and I rose. So let me shine as a diamond from within, as a phoenix, than a victim of my previous circumstances, because they're all stepping stones for growth. And if I can do that with others, show them the way of stepping stones through their intuition for their growth. That's my happiness and success.
oh, thank you, Nienke. And just to wrap up this beautiful episode, having you as a symbol of everything, having you as the inner diamond that you are, and having you as that phoenix who rose from the ashes, what would be a few tips or steps or your advice to people who are feeling in the ashes now or
Okay,
going through hard
very
times?
simple. Thank you for that question. You know, I have what I call, and that's also through the Heart Math Institute, the inner landscape. It's like a weather forecast. It has a quadrant like this. So on the lower side, and you feel down and depleted on the left side. On the top side, you can feel anger or frustration. So it's all on the left side. If you go through the heart, you go to the other side and you have joy and excitement, or on the lower side, calmer expressions like compassion, ease, inner ease, stuff like that. So, whatever you do, and you feel in this completely depleted side, and you're just tipping over to that left side, and you really feel down, just see truly, daring, courageously, what is taking your energy. And can you have compassion for that place where you are? And then go to your heart, breathe in and breathe out. Calm down and see what's needed, what gains your energy. And usually, then it is like density dissipation on that left side, and you go to the side what gives you those stepping stones. Just even if it's a puppy step, a dribble, doesn't matter. A step is a step. We don't talk about pace, we're talking about taking steps to rise, and from there you get the air under the wings and you will fly like you did for your TED Talk.
Thank you so much. I value everything that you have shared with us. And honestly, probably this is the first time I want to share another project that is on my heart. I would love to write another book with all those beautiful questions that I ask my diamonds. And your answers today were fascinating. Show me your diamond. What is success? What is happiness? And the tips to rise from the ashes. Thank you, Nienke. You are truly a beautiful diamond. I'm lucky to know you, and you were meant to be here, and you have a beautiful mission. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, and I wish for all your people from this watching and listening to this podcast that they can see and cherish their inner diamond. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All those hearts are for you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.